You want to try that one again?
Wow. Doesn't even want to do the pre-podcast give and take. What a guy. What's
Nope.
up, everybody? Now quiet. You don't get to talk now. Now I get to talk. What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Designated Players Podcast. We're keep going. It's Group C time. We are going to preview the teams in Group C. Um, Wildly, they drafted 3 teams into this group, um, and then gave a pity handout to Mexico. I don't know. I've
You
never
were
heard of it.
you're stretching with that one. You're
I've
stretching with that one.
never heard of this country before. Oh no, sorry. I'm not used to them being called that name. They're usually the name I refer them to is the U.S. men's national team baby brother, but that's just me. When I put it like that, I
Fair enough.
understand. Yes, the level of toxicity is matching, at the very least, matching last episode. But
Yeah, and
and if
your
you
whole
haven't,
England preview.
and if you haven't seen it, go check it out. We definitely gave a very fair and unbiased preview of England, and their national team.
I don't know what this "we" is.
You and
No,
me,
no, no. I don't know
pod
what you're
buddies,
talking about. I did
pod
nothing.
buddies, you and me.
I did no such thing.
Group C: Argentina, Poland, Saudi Arabia, and Mexico. An interesting group to say the least. And we'll dive into that a little bit, but we'll break down. We'll give you previews of each team, players to watch, how they've been in form over the last couple of games, and maybe their predicted 11 before jumping right into our very last segment, which will be predicting how the group will end. But before we do all that, of course, got to do scarf of the week. Connor, you
Of
want to go
course.
first?
Sure. So I have brought out the scarf to signify the completion of the revenge tour. It's blurry. Hold on.
Boo! Boo!
How do I?
I don't know.
There
I'm
we go.
not.
There we go. There we go. Here it is. It's
What
funny
is
that
it?
this scarf actually says one city, one club, when considering the fact that they play in like 8 different cities.
I can't believe you have the audacity to bring that out on this podcast. You are a disgusting human
It
being.
was the only scarf of a team that was left that I had.
I would rather have Fathead Connor talk to me for the next 90 minutes than you with that scarf on.
That's fine. I go set up the mic and I can go away.
Way. So I noticed that there was a team, commonly nicknamed Europalona,
Yes.
who have been. Did you blur the background so we couldn't see Fathead Connor? That is terrible.
Absolutely.
That is criminal, and you should be. Anybody watching should comment and slander Connor for that. That is terrible. Um,
Talk to me about UEFA Lona.
Europa Lona, um, they have ties to each team except for one, and I'm sure they can find one in Saudi Arabia. But obviously, Leo Messi, Mascherano, the Argentinian ties are there. Um, in Mexico, they have the center back who shall not be named and never will be named. And if anybody ever names him ever, they're kicked off the pod. And obviously, Poland, they've got now Lewandowski. So to honor that team, I brought out their rivals.
What an
A
honor.
la Madrid. Uh, I was gonna bring out the Inter Miami scarf with the news of Messi probably going over there, but um, I brought it out a couple weeks ago, so I thought that was kind of lame, and I wanted to bring out something new. There are a
Yeah,
couple scarves on there I still
are
haven't
kind of
touched, but
lame.
got a lot of work to do on that wall.
Yeah. Black Friday's coming up.
Oh God, start your shopping, start looking, figure out which ones we need.
Exactly.
We can't get the same ones, otherwise it's weird.
Sure we can. Why not?
Oh,
Twinning.
it's weird.
It's
All
only
right,
weird if you make it weird.
yeah, and I love making things weird. You know I do.
That's true.
All right, um, we can jump right into it. I know you're tired. You had work today. Wah 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 wah. Let's
Yeah,
jump right
let's
in.
jump into it. Who do you want to start off with?
I think we should start off with the goat.
Saudi Arabia.
I was going to say Alex Mouille. We're going to go back to the United States for the next couple hours.
Just every episode, we just slip in the United States again.
We are the center of the world, haven't you known?
Of course.
Um, it's the GOAT's last ride. It's Messi and company's one last chance at glory. Third ranked team in the world have qualified through being the runners up in CONMEBOL. They are in their 18th finals appearance. They're a team that gets in there often, and they have won it twice already, looking for number 3. Lionel Scaloni is going to take control of this Argentinian side that has already won the 2021 Copa America and the UEFA CONMEBOL Championship game, which is very much needed, as well as the 2018-19 Pan American. So the team knows how to win. They've got a great little young squad, and they're ready to go take it to this World Cup.
Yes, they are.
But my question for you,
Yeah,
how they've been doing over the last 5 games?
it's a great question.
Naturally, I only ask great questions.
It's a unique question. I don't think we've heard that one yet.
Not once.
Argentina has been thriving, to say the least. Last 5 games have included a 1-1 draw to Ecuador, a 3-0 win against Italy, 5-0 win against Estonia, 3-0 win against Honduras, and a 3-0 win against Jamaica. Competition level isn't the highest. Got Ecuador ranked 44, Italy 6, Estonia 109,
Oof.
Honduras 80, and Jamaica 64. But they're getting the job done against the teams they need to get the job done. Some teams cannot say the same. And Argentina is not one of those teams. I mean, they're beating these teams pretty easily too, like 3-0 minimum outside of the 1-1 against Ecuador.
Yeah, this team they've got a clear attacking identity, which isn't hard when you've got somebody like Leo Messi on the wing. They've got everybody who is, in 2014 and 2018, they had a mix of players who were either too young to get the job done or not consistent enough. Gonzalo Higuain, we're looking at you. But now it seems like everybody has gone up to that level and are all playing together at a very, very high cohesive level, and it's going to be they're going to be a fun team to watch. I think that's for sure. Speaking of Leo Messi, let's talk about some key players for this side. Do we really need to talk about him? What more do you need to know other than he is the greatest player of all time?
Yeah, I don't think you really need to add too much onto that one. He's a very obvious top player, to say the least.
Yeah. The one thing I will say, again, I'll reiterate, it is his last chance. There's no World Cup after this for him. He's not coming to America. I mean, he'll be in America probably at that point, but he's not coming to play. So, I think you see another level of him trying to work his hardest to get that trophy.
I mean, he should work his hardest regardless of whether it's his last.
Sure, but there's always that special little bit about it being the last one ever.
I think more so it might inspire the other guys to play a little bit harder.
I'd agree.
All right, so I guess I'll jump in here. Top player for me, I imagine he's probably on your list as well, is Lautaro Martinez for Inter Milan. He is most likely going to be the striker partner with Leo Messi. Messi. Sorry, let me get it right. This is a professional podcast after all. Martinez has put up a 7.24 rating so far for Milan. 6 goals, 2 assists, and 12 appearances on the international stage. In World Cup qualifying in 14 games, got 7 goals, 3 assists. And in Copa America, 6 games, 3 goals, 0 assists. So pretty solid all the way around. If Messi's going to be getting a lot of the attention, it's going to leave Martinez in some more space. And if you do that, you're going to be in so much trouble. I mean, he's going to make you pay 100%. He is a top striker in the world, and he and Messi up top are going to be an absolute handful for any defense in this entire tournament. So I wish the teams in Group C the best of luck.
That's exactly what I said. I go, him and Messi are going to link up and create just chance after chance after chance. It won't be fair.
Yeah.
So, you know me. I love a good goalkeeper.
Me too.
And I have to highlight Emi Martinez, the other Martinez in the group, one of like 6, which is going to be fun for when we pick our teams again. I think it must be a requirement for everybody outside of the United States to have like 4 players with the same name, all of them at starting caliber, just to mess with us.
How do we get that on the US is the question. I think we had it for a little bit with Acosta. There was a point in time where I feel like there was a chance we could have done it. It was like Kellen Acosta, Danilo Acosta.
That's right.
I
Brian
think there
Acosta
was,
was in there, maybe
yeah. I
at
think there
some point. He might have
was
been the youth system.
there might have been. I feel like there was more Acostas as well, but I feel that's probably our best shot, unless you get like a bunch of Smiths that come like through
I would say
the
Smith or
pipes.
Jones or something
Yeah,
like that. But anyways, to continue on, every World Cup that I can remember, I mean, that goes all the way back to 2010. The big thing with the Argentinian sides were, will their goalkeepers hold up? It was always Romero, um, was always the front guy, and then there were a few others that kind of would come and go. Um, but that was always like when you talked about their quote unquote weak point, and that's not to say their goalkeepers were weak in any sense. But when you talk about what their weak point was going into any tournament, it was always the goalkeeper spot. At this point, I don't think that you can say that. I think Martinez has done more than enough to get himself involved. Armani was the other one. Armani and Rulli were the other 2 that I was thinking of. I couldn't think of their names that were in that pool for a while. But Martinez has become the pure and out number 1, formerly at Arsenal, now at Aston Villa. With players like Lewandowski and I got to think of the other good attacker here. Hold on one sec.
Swiderski, obviously.
Alburacan and Swiderski. And I would say somebody from Mexico, but they have nobody, so it's okay. Right. Well, when you go up against teams like that with strikers who are world class, truly, your goalkeeper needs to be ready to make one big save a game. Romero was able to pull that out in 2014, and that's why they were as successful as they were. When he didn't in 2018, or they didn't do as well. So it's going to be a big focus point, I believe, for this Argentinian side's success is going to fall on his shoulders. And I think he's up for it, personally.
Yeah, I think he is too. It's the first time since I've been following the World Cup where, I mean, it hasn't been very long. I've only been following it for a couple World Cups.
What? This is your first World Cup?
No, since 2014, at least for me. But it's the first time where I feel like their goalkeeper spot isn't, like you said, like their weakest point.
Right.
Again, not to say that it was weak, but Emi Martinez feels like an upgrade from what they previously had, and that I feel like that makes them a really scary team because I feel like everywhere else on the field they've been just as good as they have previously. So
yeah,
that's scary.
Yeah. So to predict their 11, we'll put Martinez 1 in goal. In my back 4, so I've got him in a 4-3-3. I should clarify. In the back 4, I've got them going. Sorry, I just got to fix something real quick. There we go. I've got them going right to left. Montiel, Romero, Martinez 2. That'd be the Man United Martinez, for anybody wondering. And Acuna. In the middle 3, I've got DePaul, Paredes, and Lo Celso. And then up front, I've got Messi, Martinez, and Correa, with Julian Alvarez coming off the bench.
Yeah, it's crazy that Julian Alvarez is coming off the bench. It just feels like Man City, but in a national team.
It really does, doesn't it?
For the most part, I've got the same team. I've got a different shape though. I went 4-4-2. I have so I
just go goalkeeper through. Go goalkeeper through.
All right, I've got Emi Martinez in goal. Right to left in the back line, I've got Montiel, Romero, This one I want to specify. I did have Lissandro Martinez, but from what it looked like, they consistently play Otamendi. So I have Otamendi in there, considering I think that's what they are going to play. I would go Lissandro Martinez as well, personally. Um, Left back, I went Tagliafico.
Not a
Uh,
bad shout.
I think you could go either way with him or Acuna, and you really can't go wrong. Midfield four for me, from right to left. I've got Di Maria on the right, um, Paredes and DePaul in the middle, and then I have Lo Celso on the left. And
Okay.
then up top, I have Martinez and Messi.
Sure. Yeah, I figured Messi would play more of a winger role until
He
they
probably could.
needed
Yeah.
like to get other players on the field. Again, the danger with this team is not only can they go deep, they can play tons of different shapes, and the players know how to fill them. Uh,
Yeah, it's crazy. You could drop Messi a little bit deeper. You could swap Di Maria out in my lineup and put in Correa and play him up top. You could play Julian Alvarez up top. It they've got options.
yeah. Um, so here's my one question. This team on paper feels, and like we've been talking about, feels like it's got everything it needs to win it all. In your opinion, what is the what is the part of their team that will prevent them from winning this tournament?
I'm gonna say the back line. I think it's definitely solid. I mean, I would say more than solid. I think they'll be an above average back line in the tournament. I think this team is super strong. I really don't see like anything I would consider to be a weak point. But if they do end up starting Otamendi, I think that's a point of attack that teams might target, considering he's a bit older now, probably not as, physically strong as he used to be, probably not as quick. Um, I think that's the point where you could probably break through this team, because I think in the midfield they're super solid. I think in the attack, that's their best part. I think they're super explosive in the attack. So I kind of just have to go with defense here. I still think their defense is very good, and I don't see them having too many problems. But based on this question, if I have to pick something, that's where I would point my finger at.
Sure, and I think this is more for out of the group stage. If I'm not
Yeah,
spoiling predictions, but I can't imagine either of us put them below two.
that would be
Um,
crazy.
um, but yeah, for me, same idea. It's defense, but it's more team defense. I feel like a lot of players in this group are pure out and out attackers, and once they lose the ball, it'll be like they used to have a Mascherano and then Otamendi and a young Otamendi and a full back line of players who could sit in and get stuck in. Now there are so many like attacking or closer to 10 than 6 players that I'll be interested to see if they're pushing. Do they just give up on the defense and let the counterattack happen? That'd be my focus for them.
I'm looking something up really quick before we move on to the next segment. I am curious about the height of this team. I feel like that could be another weakness area for them, considering if they do end up starting, like, let's say, Romero and Lissandro Martinez at center back, that's not going to be very tall, especially if you play Acuna as well, who's 5'8", at least according to ESPN. I don't know if that's super accurate. Um, and then Montiel as well, who's 5'10". You're looking at one guy in that back line that's over 6 foot, and that's Romero at 6'1". So I feel like set pieces could potentially be a weak point for them, considering they're not the biggest team.
That is a really really interesting note. I never noticed that.
Yeah, I was just
Sandro
thinking about that
Martinez is
because
tiny.
yeah, that's the meme everybody's talking about in the Prem, is just like how small he is. But if he can do a job, then it doesn't really matter. But
Man, throw that guy at the 6 and then put somebody else back there.
you would think, right? Like, I think he would make a perfect six.
Oh well.
I mean, maybe that's what they'll do. Maybe they'll play Otamendi. They'll move him up. I don't know. Like we said, they got options. They can move things around.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm ready to move on if you are.
Yeah, I'm good.
Cool. So I'm ready to move on to Saudi Arabia, the dark horses of the group. Watch out for their late run.
Yeah, no disagreements from me.
No, I'm lying. Um, they qualified as winning the Group B in the AFC third round qualification. They're the 51st ranked team in the world. That's got to be one of the lowest that we've talked about so far, isn't it?
I saw something today. They're the third lowest ranked team in the
That's
World Cup.
wild. They are entering their sixth finals, however, looking to get past the round of 16 for the first time ever. Harvey Renard leading their group, the Frenchman. I think it's safe to say that they have a pretty large hill to climb going against some of the best countries in the world and Mexico.
Nice.
How'd they do? How'd they do in their last five?
So in their last five, they got a win against Australia. I should preface this by saying I think there were two friendlies that they've played super recently, but I could not find like any
I got no
information on
data on
lineup
it,
or
yep.
anything, so I didn't include them in this case. Got a 1-0 win against Australia, 1-0 loss against Colombia, 1-0 loss against Venezuela, 1-1 draw against Ecuador, and a 0-0 draw against the US.
What a game.
Yeah.
Can't believe I stayed up all day for that one.
You and probably everybody else who's a USMNT fan. Rankings, we got Australia at 38, Colombia at 17, Venezuela at 57, Ecuador at 44, and US at 16. So it reminds me a bit of Ecuador's form coming in. I mean, they have scored 2 goals in the last 5 games.
Yep. Probably a bit worrisome, but I think they'll rely more on a park the bus and counter system than anything else. I can't imagine them thinking they're going to be expansive and playing attacking football against Argentina, right? If I'm going up against Argentina, my idea is not, hey guys, let's go ahead and try and possess a roundup today. Let's go get them. Let's get at them. No way. Sit your ass in front of the 18, block every shot that comes in, and if we get a counter, let's run. Key players were a lot of fun because I know none of them.
Yep.
So I'm highlighting to start Fahad Al Muwallad from Al Shabab Club. When I looked up all of their players that were on their roster from the 2022 calendar year, he did have the highest goal total and the most caps. He's got 17 goals, and he will split the scoring responsibilities with somebody I'm sure we'll talk about after on the left wing, because there's really not a true goal scoring number 9, at least not that I could find. So that is one person to watch for this team, I believe.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as you. This was not the easiest to pick top players. One guy that I did put on my list was wait, can you say yours again? I just want to make sure I don't have the same one here.
Fahad Al Muwallad.
Okay. I went with Salim Al Dasari.
There you go.
He plays for Al Hilal. He's got a 6.95 rating right now for the club. 4 goals, 1 assist, and 4 appearances. I believe he plays on the left wing. From what I was understanding, it was kind of like consensus that he was one of their top players. He had 7 goals and 1 assist in World Cup qualifying and 13 appearances. I think that's probably pretty strong for them. And in friendlies against Venezuela and Ecuador, he had 2 assists. So I think he's going to be an important part of their attack. And that's probably honestly, it's probably the best I've got. This was not an easy one.
Fun fact, Al Hilal was where Sebastian Giovinco played. Luciano Vieto played there, or currently plays there, excuse me. Batafembi Gomis used to play there. Carrillo is over there. Musa Marega is over there. This club's got a couple of attackers that are pretty interesting to note. I did note their right back, Sultan Al Ghanam. simply because he was the highest market value.
I did the same thing.
Um, he has played his entire career in the Saudi League and has made 15 appearances for his country. My guess is he'll be involved in a lot of the defense and not so much of the attack, but he's got high market value, which means obviously best player on the team.
Yeah,
We're
and you can't even say it's like prem like markup value because everybody's in the same league. So
right, right. So apologies for anybody who's really looking forward to us highlighting some key players for the Saudi Arabian team. Um, go Google it. I don't know.
I've got one more and then one I guess like
Ooh,
I'll call it honorable mention, but
go ahead.
um I think he's actually probably one of their top players. I just hadn't done research on him ahead of time, so I don't have much to add. But I was from what I was understanding, Yasser Al Sharani is one of their top players as well, left back for them. So highlighting both fullbacks, definitely going to be key in this group for them. So definitely wanted to highlight him. And then the last one that I had was their striker, Faraz Al Barakin. He also plays in the Saudi League for Al Fateh. He's got a 6.96 rating so far this season for the club. Only one goal though in 8 appearances. In qualifying, he had 3 goals, no assists in 12 appearances, and no goals or assists in friendlies. So doesn't sound like he's coming in the best form, but from what I remember, I think he is like one of the better scorers for Saudi Arabia, and he's still pretty young too. So I think he's going to be like a young up and comer that's going to be a factor in this team for a while, and I think this will be a good chance for him to like really make his mark on a big stage here for the team. So I threw him on there.
Yeah, I had kind of alluded to that earlier. Is he's up and coming, but he's not in great form. That's why Mualad and Dowsari are going to be taking most of the uh, goal scoring responsibilities is the word I'll use because he doesn't get the job done and for whatever reason is I remember watching against the United States, but I don't think you see a lot of goals out of this club. I think you see a lot of 1-0-0-0s for a reason. They know who they are, they know their identity, and they're going to try and nick a point here and there and see if they can mess up the group and see what happens. Now, I think Argentina runs over them. I think Mexico and Poland will struggle to break them down. Poland more specifically than Mexico, I do think. Simply for their lack of attacking creativity, right? You've got big Robert Lewandowski in the middle. We'll talk about this later, but you've got big Robert Lewandowski in the middle who you're going to try and play off of. They're going to put 4 players around him and make you go play out wide and hope that they can win headers off of services. They're going to be a tough team to break down. This is not going to be a team that's going to show up and be like San Marino and get beat 9-0 every game. They're going to compete. So, predicted 11 for me. I've got Al Owais in goal. I should make you do this. I did the tough names last time. I got Al Owais at the goalkeeper spot. From right to left in the center back spot, I got Al Ghanam, Al Amri, Al Boleahi, and Al Sharani. In the midfield, 2 in front of them, I've got Kano and Al Faraj. In the 3-pack in front of them, I've got Al Muwalad, Al Hassan, and Al Dowarsi. And up top, I've got Al Baraika. That was all right. That wasn't too bad.
Yeah. I've got almost the exact same thing. I just have one, I think, difference. I actually have a different shape too. I went with like a 4-3-3 instead of a
All
4
right,
or
then
2-3-1.
go from back to front then.
I don't need to go back to front. It's
Yes, you
all the
do.
same except one player.
It's for the TikTok. You have to do it for
No.
the TikTok. Do it for the
You
content.
just want me to read the names. That's it. That's all you want.
Do it for the content.
Muhammad Alawais in goal. Sultan Al Ghanam at right back. Abdullah Al Amri at center back with Ali Al Boliahi at the other center back. I know this is what you wanted. Yasser Al Sharani at left back, a midfield three of Sami Al Naji,
Okay. Yeah, I remember him.
Salman Al Faraj, and Mohamed Kanu. And then a front three of Fahad Al Muwalid, Salem Al Dosari, and Faraz Al Buraikan. So pretty much
So
exactly
I
the same, except for the one guy.
Sure. So I did actually need you to do that because I've been editing the TikToks. If you haven't checked out our TikTok, go look at them. They're really cool. We put all these clips that we're making, cut them up, and put them out there. Go check it out, like it up, follow up. We're at 157 followers on there. I post like once a week. Pretty
Massive.
cool. But it's always good to run through because what I was noticing is when we just go like, oh yeah, I changed this, and this, it's kind of hard to follow. So it's good to see it. My question for you, much like Qatar, a team of all home league players, they all play in the Saudi league. Do they have the ability to withstand the different styles of play that are coming in and go shot for shot with any other country in this group in Mexico?
Yes, 100%. I
Interesting.
think it's going to be very difficult, but let's not forget that this team finished first in their World Cup qualifying group that had Japan and Australia in it. Those are not two teams
Wow.
to sleep on.
That's
That
right.
is a tough group, and they finished on top. Recent form says they're not in the best form. They're struggling to score goals. They've been pretty solid defensively, but I really think that the team knows who they are. They have really good chemistry with one another. They're not just relying on one superstar. You know, everybody's going to contribute. I think if teams sleep on them, it's going to be a big mistake, and I think Saudi Arabia will make them pay for that. Whether or not teams do end up sleeping on them, I don't think that they will. But if someone shows up and is not playing at their best, I think they could take advantage. I think they could cause some chaos in this group.
I love it. I love a little bit of chaos. You know that I'm here for that.
Of course.
And I agree with you. I think, like I mentioned before, they know who they are. They know what their game plan is. And if they can go in and nick a point here and there, they're going to mess some people up. I don't know if it means that they can get out, but they certainly will not be blown out. So keep an eye on this Saudi team.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. Next up, USA's baby brother. And that is a term that I use simply so we don't get any issues.
You don't want to save them for last?
No, I don't want to save them for last because I have them here in third. I would call them something else, but I'm not allowed to say that word on this podcast. We are a family-friendly, professional podcast, and I will not use the term that I'd like to use to describe them. These second-place finishers in the octagonal entering their 17th finals of all time as the 13th best team in the world. Overrated. They look to get past the quarterfinals for the first time ever and get rid of that new nickname, USA's baby brother, if you guys haven't heard it, from the lips of supporters everywhere. All of their supporters are saying it. Just ask them. Especially after going 0-3 in trophy awarding games in 2021 against the United States. Hit wrecked. They've got an aging lineup with minimal support from their non-existent youth movement relative to the neighbors to the north. You know, we're sending people all over the world for massive amounts of money, and they've got Diego Lanz playing bench warmer in Spain. Is that right?
I think it sounds right.
Get wrecked. It's going to be a tough group who will need to rely on. They will need to perform their ritual to bring back the ghost of Memo Ochoa as they do every 4 years to save them, because I am convinced he's not playing right now, but you know he will show up and do something magical to keep them through to the round of 16, as he does every year. Tata Moreno, Gerard Moreno, however you want to pronounce it. I've kind of washed his name out of my brain after what he did to Red Bull in 2018. So He is useless to me, but he's definitely going to wish that he brought more MLS Mexican talent with him, as he is bouncing his way back to irrelevancy after getting knocked out of the group stage. He will be begging for his job. MLS is clear. USA is clear. Mexico in the mud.
Was that the big preview that you were hyping the other day?
So I wrote it when I was really tired, and I thought it was way better than when I said it. I was getting really hyped, but it was also like 11:30 at night, as directly after we recorded. So I was like, "Yeah, this is awesome." It wasn't as good as I thought it was.
Now
I'll
I kind of
rewrite
wish
one.
I heard it.
I'll rewrite one. Make it better next time.
Okay.
Talk to me about their last 5.
So last 5 for Mexico. They've got a 3-0 win against Suriname, a 1-1 draw against Jamaica, 1-0 loss against Paraguay, 1-0 win against Peru, and a 3-2 loss against Colombia. Rankings are 139 for Suriname, 64 for Jamaica, 47 for Paraguay, 23 for Peru, and 17 for Colombia. So seems like it's kind of flat on form, to be honest. I mean, maybe a little bit worse, just considering that one of their wins was against Suriname.
Yeah. They so to go back to a bit of seriousness, they do have some injuries among the more prevalent starters in their group. I know Raul Jimenez is down with some hip issues at Wolves. Jesus Corona has broken his fibula, so he will most likely miss out on the World Cup. He's due back in December. And then little nicks here and there, but those are 2 big players to have missing if you're not ready, especially Corona, because that means you have to play with that bum Lyons at the right wing spot, and nobody wants that. Connor, can you put up your background really quick?
That's bold of you to think that he's even going to get a starting spot.
Bro, literally, after what Miazga did
Oh,
to him.
You want me to put the Miazga
Oh, I
thing
need
in the
it. I need
background?
it right now for everybody watch. Everybody watching needs it.
Okay, hold on. There you go.
Way the toxicity into
Let
my
me get out of the
veins.
way. Here, I'll replace.
Yes.
I'll be right over here.
This is the only reason we need to not talk about this team. They are way below us, both in stature, in future, soccer ability.
You know what's funny?
USA clear.
Neither of the guys in the picture are playing for the national team anymore.
I know. Well, that's the thing. We had a guy who wasn't even in the picture, and this was like their most promising player, and we absolutely torched him. USA clear.
USA clear.
Yeah, so definitely some.
Should we jump into top
important-
players?
I was about to say, yeah. Let's jump into some players here. I only have 2 for some reason. I must have forgotten one.
Really? I've got 3.
I'll start with Edson Alvarez. Touted as one of the best center defensive mids in CONCACAF, but we all know Tyler Adams is clear. He's a mainstay in a very strong Ajax side, very good in the defensive end of the ball, good vision. He can start an attack the other way. He will be the guy that links everything together. But Tyler Adams is clear.
Yep, I've got him on my list as well. Another one I got on my list is Chucky Lozano, of course, playing for Napoli this season. 691 rating, 2 goals, 1 assist, and 11 appearances. Didn't really do a ton in terms of goals and assists in World Cup qualifying. Only 1 goal
I'm
and 1
shocked.
assist in 10 appearances.
I do believe he was hurt. Like, didn't he have that really bad
He made
injury
10
to his
appearances.
head? Did he really?
That's what I saw. I mean, maybe it's wrong. I don't know. But
All I remember is that injury he suffered in the Gold Cup when he like got concussed and like messed up his eye. But
well, he also scored in the recent friendly against Peru. So I think regardless of his form coming in, he's going to be a massively important player for them.
So my notes here, what I have is he was once Mexico's strongest attacking player. He gained really good international acclaim as one of the first people from CONCACAF to make that overseas move. Now he's just averages every USMNT winger. Alex Muil is absolutely clear. 3 goals in 14 games in the UCL. And Serie A for Napoli, 16 goals for Mexico in about 60 games. He's dynamic. He's quick. He creates a lot of things wide. He'll cut inside. He'll get shots off. He will cause a lot of issues for defenders. Alex Muil is still clear.
Are these the only 2 you had on your list?
Those were the only 2 I had. I'm sure whoever you say was probably on my brain, and then I was like, I'm going to bed, and then forgot.
You can't leave this guy off when we're talking about the World Cup. It's
left Memo
Guillermo
Ochoa
Ochoa.
off. I did it. I left him. I left him off. Fight me.
Okay, I will fight you. This guy is different gravy when it comes to the World Cup, and you know it. And you know it. We've seen it time after time. He just I don't know. He's like on steroids. He's if you remember him, he's like Miroslav Klose for Germany, who was just like different gravy for that Germany team. But once you got to the club level, he was just average. He's been playing consistently in Mexico for Club America, 20 appearances, 7 clean sheets this season. He had 8 clean sheets in 14 appearances in World Cup qualifying, apparently, which I was kind of surprised that I didn't think he had that many. 2 clean sheets in recent friendlies against Peru and Ecuador. No clean sheet against Colombia, but can't count this guy out when it comes to the World Cup. He will step up as he always does, I'm sure. I don't care if he's 37. He will probably make ridiculous saves to bail out Mexico.
How has he had 7 clean sheets in Liga MX? He doesn't. He belongs on FC Dallas. You cannot convince me this man plays. He is an FC Dallas man, if I've ever seen one.
I mean, he might be on Dallas. We don't know.
Literally. All right. Predicted 11. Ghost of Memo Ochoa in goal. In a 4-3-3, I've got from right to left, I've got Sanchez, Moreno, Araujo, and Gallardo. In the middle 3, I've got Gutierrez, Alvarez, and Rodriguez. And right to left, I've got Lozano, I've got Jimenez, and I've got Laenz. If Jimenez is not healthy, I've got Funes Mori filling into that spot, and I think he'll do just as good of a job.
I think we actually have a few different here. Mine may not be right. I'm not going to claim to be right, but I have got Ochoa in goal, of course. I've got from right to left in defense. I went with Kevin Alvarez on the right side. I saw his name a lot recently at right back, so I've got him. Center backs of Cesar Montes and Hector Moreno, and Jesus Gallardo at left back. Who did you say your midfield 3 was again? I think I had 2 of the same, but I don't remember who the one was.
I had Eric Gutierrez, I had Edson Alvarez, and I had Carlos Rodriguez.
Okay, so the only one I had different, I didn't have Gutierrez in there. I've got Edson Alvarez, Carlos Rodriguez, and I put Hector Herrera in there, even though
you think Tata Martino's taking Hector Herrera after playing for Houston?
He made the preliminary team, so
that doesn't matter.
I'm going to assume he's going to be there.
I cannot tell you how improbable it is that anybody from MLS is being taken to Tata Martino's team.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. Front 3, I've got Lozano. I said Jimenez or Funes Mori if Jimenez is not playing. And then on the right side, I actually didn't put Lainez, considering
he's trash. I know.
I don't remember seeing him like in the team at all recently. I gotta double check that because it seems kind of odd. But I went with either Antuna or Alvarado on the right side. But I want to double check that now because I could have sworn I feel like he hasn't been in the team in a while. I saw him on the bench a few times. But
and it might be so. I just think that he would. I didn't know the other 2, so I put him in instead.
I'm just double checking right now really quick. It looks like Let me see. So it looks like he plays, but he comes off the bench. So he came off the bench
See,
for 14 minutes against Colombia. He played for 12 minutes in a friendly against Nigeria. And in World Cup qualifying, he also came off the bench in, I think, every game. So it doesn't seem
see,
like
if
he
Tata
gets.
Martino was, if he was smart, he would just take Efren Alvarez and just play him at right wing and have him hit screamers all day. But he's not, and he is a Mexico snob. He's not a Euro snob. He only takes players who play in League MX.
He's an anti. No, he's not an anti MLS. He's an MLS snob, I guess, or an anti MLS snob. What's
Anti
the right
MLS
word?
snob. I think that's the way
Okay.
we put it. He's a hater. Let's just leave it at that.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you.
So my question is for you: how far clear are all the other nations of Mexico?
Very far
We have
clear.
to, we have to pronounce it properly. Genuine question: are they in trouble with their lack of youth promise coming up? Right, we talked about how they've got 2 or 3 guys that are really really promising, while the United States and Canada are all really just shooting up with young talent. Is that going to hurt them in this World Cup not to have a youth system to try and rely on players who are in their upper, lower 30s, some of them upper 30s with Guardado and Ochoa? Is that going to hurt them?
I think for this World Cup they'll be okay. I think the next one is where you'll start to probably see some of that in effect. I don't think that they're like in trouble in the terms in like the way that I think they'll like start to fall off in coming years, but I certainly don't think that they're gonna be like the sole dominant team in CONCACAF anymore. Not that they were solely dominant before, because the US would compete with them, but I do think that Mexico was probably the stronger team for at least a good while. I think with the way that the US has been producing talent lately, and even Canada as well, I think they're gonna quickly catch up, if not overtake Mexico, and then Mexico might be playing third fiddle and might be trying to catch up to the US and Canada then at that point.
Things you love to see.
I don't think that's going to be an issue now. That's an issue for down the road. And it may not even be an issue. Who knows? I don't know the Mexico team enough to know like who's in the pipeline. Maybe some guys kind of burst onto the scene a little bit later. Maybe there are some young players in Liga MX that are going to start coming up and getting moves to Europe, and all of a sudden now we're talking about this new youth movement for Mexico. So at the moment, it doesn't seem like there's too much, but I'm not going to count them out on that yet.
You're too nice.
Yes.
They're screwed. They've got nothing left. Might as well just dissolve the entire team.
I'm sure
USA
you would
clear
love that.
Mexico.
I'm sure you would
Mexico
love
are
that.
Mexico are absolutely finished.
Fair enough.
All right, last one here. Let's go to Lewandowski and his Polish friends. Lewandowski and friends will try
Don't you mean,
to compete.
sorry, hold on a second. Don't you mean Swiderski and friends? Let's get it right here.
You're right. You're right. They will try and compete with what is likely Lewandowski's last run at global football supremacy. They did benefit from Russia being forced to forfeit the first of their playoff matches before beating Sweden to book their spot in their 9th finals appearance. They do look to make it one step closer to their final game. They have finished 3rd in 2 World Cups before, and they're looking to at least get to that final game. What about their last 5?
Last 5 for Poland, similar to a lot of the other European teams. We're looking at Nations League for them. So last 5 games in a pretty tough group, got to admit. Got a 6-1 loss to Belgium. That's not great. 2-2 draw
Not
to
ideal.
no. 2-2 draw to Netherlands. 1-0 loss to Belgium. 2-0 loss to the Netherlands, and a 1-0 win against Wales. Rankings are ranked 2 for Belgium, 8 for Netherlands, and 19 for Wales. So tough group. I'll give them that. It was never going to be easy, but form not the strongest coming in.
Yeah, and a little worrying, to be honest with you, that they're not competing with those top teams, because while they could get out of this group here, um, it only gets harder as you go on.
Yeah.
The Belgian loss 6-1 was what was worrying, because they opened the scoring and just folded. No red cards. No, they had one substitution where they took out Krychowiak, and everything after that just folded. So there are some players to keep an eye on while you watch. One of them, of course, being Robert Lewandowski. For people who don't get that reference, by the way, look it up. Like, if you
Yeah,
don't know that by now, what are you doing?
I think it was Thomas Muller who said that, right?
It was
Came up with
Mr.
it.
Mueller.
Yes.
Yeah.
So look that up.
Yeah.
It's a great meme.
Listen, he is pure and out one of the greatest strikers in the world.
Oh yeah.
Should have won Ballon d'Or like.
Oh, absolutely. That's one of the biggest crimes in football history.
Absolutely robbed. The dude scores goals for fun. He has 5 seasons with over 30 goals for club, 8 with them over 20, 5 goals in 5 Champions League appearances this year on his way down with Europa Lona to the Europa League.
Love that.
13
Hook it to my
goals,
veins.
right? 13 goals in 12 games in La Liga, most of them coming against bottom half teams. 76 goals in 134 appearances for Poland. One of Bayern München's best ever players. 2-time FIFA Player of the Year, UEFA Best Player in Europe, 12-time Footballer of the Year between Poland and Germany. 18 times he was a top goal scorer for a competition he was in. And that's not even to mention all the German awards he won with Bayern. The dude can score from basically any service style you give him, back to goal, in the air, running in on his own. He can do everything. Yeah, hopefully he can get out of the group.
He is one of the best strikers of all time. So, of course, that's going to be a handful. One other guy I've got on my list is Piotr Zielinski.
Yo, me too.
Nice. He's playing
team.
Go team. He's playing for Napoli this season. Got a 7.19 rating, 1 goal, 4 assists in 12 appearances. That's a bit more goals assists production than I was expecting from him, considering I see him more of as a midfielder, but I don't know. Maybe he's playing more an attacking role. In international World Cup qualifying, he had 1 goal and 2 assists. And in Nations League, he had 1 goal, 0 assists in 6 games. So I think he's going to be a super important player for them in the midfield. I think he's going to play a more creative role than people might expect. And I think that's going to be massive importance when it comes to giving service to Lewandowski. So if there's no service to Lewandowski, it's going to be hard for him to score. So I think Zielinski is going to be a massively important player.
Correct. He was taking part in every Nations League game for the Netherlands in either an attacking mid role or a second striker role. So he's more involved in the attack than usual. But yeah, he's definitely going to be trying to link that play, find Lewandowski in on goal, play the ball out wide so somebody can serve it into him. It's going to be all about getting that man on the ball, getting that man in the goals. So he will be a massive part of that. His success will directly correlate to what this team can do.
Yes.
I got one more.
So do I. I bet it's the same person.
I love a good goalkeeper.
Oh, yeah.
You know I do.
Of course.
I
dare you to try to spell his name without looking at it.
Wojciech Szczesny, the Gianluigi Buffon understudy at Juve for years before he gets his shot, and now he's consistently a top 10 goalkeeper in the world. He's a good shot stopper. He's good at controlling his box and organizing his defense. He's got a lot of good players coming at him. If Poland want to stand a chance, he's going to have to be massive. Man of the match performances against some teams to keep them in it. Sorry, I was just reading a note here going back to Zielinski that he had 3 goals, 2 assists, and 5 Champions League appearances without going down. Get wrecked, Barcelona. Sorry, I need to throw that in there. I need toxicity in my life.
No worries. No worries.
Again, it's a I think goalkeeper is going to be a massive, massive part of this group. a lot of times you're looking at the center mids or the strikers or a center back or something. But the goalkeeper is going to be massive in this group. The team outside of Argentina, truthfully, the team with the best goalkeeper play is going to move on as the second team in this group. I genuinely believe it. Because somebody is going to pull out a Tim Howard versus Belgium-esque performance and make the difference. And that's what I'm expecting.
Yeah, I think not too much to add on my end. I had a little trivia thing. Do you remember what club he was at before Juve?
I want to say Arsenal, but I don't know if he made a move before that.
I think it
No,
was
I
Arsenal
know
right
he was at.
before it.
I knew he was Arsenal. I didn't know if he made like a
I think
Roma
it was
to Juve
Arsenal
move.
straight to Juve. I could be mistaken, but that's what I was thinking of was his time at Arsenal. When,
Yeah, I remember he was an Arsenal goalkeeper for a long time. He came in and he had baby face with a turtleneck. I remember his first time over at
yeah,
over at
and I feel
Arsenal.
like he never really got his stature until he went to Italy. I feel like I remember
Yeah.
him almost being like the scapegoat for Arsenal a lot when he was there.
Oh, I was right. It went Arsenal to Roma for a loan and then a direct transfer to Juve. So I knew he went to Roma at some point. Look at me.
Look at you
Man
go.
knows ball. Man knows ball. Ball knowledge through the roof.
All right, should we move into predicted 11?
Sure. Tell me about what you think.
All right, so I went with a 3-5-2 for them. So I've got Chesney in goal. I've got a back three of Bednarik, Jakub Kivior, and Camille Glick. Midfield five from left to right. I've got Nikola Zalewski. I've got Kuchaliak. I've got Zielinski. I've got Simon Zerkovsky. And then at the right spot, I've got either this still shocks me to this day. I've got either Matty Cash or I've got Frankowski, which is also a throwback to MLS days.
Oh, yeah.
And then up top, I've got, of course, Lewandowski. And then at the other striker spot, I said either Piatek or Milik.
Swiderski is angry at you.
I think Swiderski might have a decent shot at starting, but I'm also kind of surprised if he ends up starting over those other two.
No, I don't disagree there. I mentioned how important it was going to be to be strong defensively in this group. So I went with a 4-2-3-1. Chesney in goal, Matty Cash on the right, which, funny enough, he was going to be a key player for me until I was like, nah, it's Chesney's time. But I was just going to do it just to talk about his one-time switch. But Matty Cash with Bednarik and Glick in the middle. I got Puchaz on the left. The two-pack in front of him, I got Krychowiak and Linetti. In front of them, the three in front of them, I got Frankowski, Zielinski, and Kaminsky. And then one in front of him, Lewandowski. Get it? Golski.
I get it.
The things I would do just to be Thomas Muller for a day. Say things like that just to get away with it. Yeah, so I think they go I think they leave Lewandowski alone. I think he's better off as a one instead of working in a group because you can hold up and play off of him. Whereas if you're in a two, it's a little tougher to do that. This also gives a little bit more balance across the entirety of the team. So I think that's more likely the way they do it. For me, the question though, the team just feels okay. Like you've got your big name players, your Chesneys, your Lewandowskis, but there's nobody who stands out as like an entire like it's not an Argentina team where everybody you look at's like, oh my god, are they just average? Like, do they have enough to get out?
I think they have enough to get out. I almost kind of see it maybe in kind of like tiers. I think Argentina is a tier above Poland and Mexico. And then I would put Poland and Mexico in the same tier below them.
Say it right.
Sorry, Pexico.
Thank you.
So I would probably say that I think they have enough to get out of the group, but I agree with you in that I look at this team on paper and I don't see this as a team that's competing to win the title. I think it'll be a good tournament for them if they just get out of the group, even if they get knocked out in the round of 16. But I don't think they have the tools that they need to go far. I think it's relying too much on one guy, just like a couple of other teams we talked about previously.
Yep. No disagreements there. I think it does feel just a little bit meh. It's just a little meh. You're gonna rely on really 3 players to at least get you out of the group, but 3 players doesn't get you a title. So that leaves one thing and one thing only. Give me your prediction 4-1 and do it right.
Sorry. Just saying sorry ahead of time. I've
Boo.
got Saudi Arabia at 4. Unfortunately, somebody has to be at 4. I still think they're going to be a sneaky good team, but I ultimately am landing. Somebody's got to come in last. I've got Poland at 3. I think too much reliance on one guy. If Lewandowski gets shut down, I see the Polish team struggling here. So I also think that Mexico having so much World Cup experience with a lot of the guys that are on their team, I think that will help them to get out at that second spot. So I think they will get out of the group kind of like they normally do, to be honest with you. And then I got Argentina at 1 for obvious reasons.
Your commitment to toxicity is not nearly high enough to be on this podcast, so this is your last day. Thank you.
I'm trying to get this 100% right. I'm not here for the toxicity. That's what you're
Hexaco
here
at
for.
4. Hexaco at 4. No, I'm just kidding.
Hexaco at 5. Put someone else in front of them too.
Hexaco relegated.
Alex Muriel's team is ahead of them.
Chicago Fire at 4.
Exactly.
I got Saudi Arabia at 4. Same thing we were talking about. I think they're competitive. They pick up 2 points, but 2 points is enough to get them in. I got Mexico at 3. I think they drop points to a Poland team, and they drop points to Saudi Arabia. I think Saudi Arabia nicks a point off of them. I think Poland gets a win off of them. I got Poland at 2 for that exact reason, and I've got Argentina at 1. Disagree with me in the comments. I dare you. Mexico
I'm sure
finished.
people will.
Mexico finished.
People will disagree on anything. They'll be like, I can't believe you put Argentina first.
Saudi Arabia clear.
Yeah.
Oh,
I saw
man.
people people talking about us putting Ecuador 3rd. It's like,
Yeah, they
where
weren't
do
happy
you
with that.
want to put them? Like, somebody's
Yeah.
got to finish 3rd. It's like if I put Senegal on 3rd, it's like, oh my god, how could you put Senegal on 3rd? Somebody has to finish in 3rd, and somebody has to finish in 4th. It's just gonna happen.
Correct. But that's it for us. That is Group C, previewed, predicted, and done. Next Monday, Group D. Any toxicity in Group D?
I don't think so. I think we're gonna have a calm group for once.
Let me see. France, Australia, Denmark, Tunisia. I've got some bold predictions on this one.
I feel like I can predict them now.
Anyways,
France in
like so
4th,
much-
right? Sorry, I didn't mean to spoil your prediction. Sorry.
Whoa, relax.
I'm excited.
All right,
honestly, I'm looking at this right now. I'm excited for Group E. That group is sneaky strong.
What's Group B?
Spain, Costa Rica, Germany, and Japan. Anyway.
Ooh. Yeah, so stick around. Make sure you're following us everywhere on social media and wherever you get your podcast so you know when the Group D preview goes live. Make sure you're commenting and interacting with us all over social media. We love that type of stuff. So we will catch you all next time for the Group D preview in the next episode of the Designated Players Podcast. See ya.